Justin and I covered the Noma abuse scandal last week. And I think what came up in a lot of the conversation is this idea of no longer chasing Michelin, no longer chasing a fine dining, how do you say it? A fine dining career path. And if you followed me on Line Cook Thoughts, the podcast I used to do, if you follow my podcast, you'll know that I'm someone that wanted to pursue Michelin and stopped doing it. And I shared a clip of the podcast. It did really well. I had a lot of people commenting their stories, asking why I did that. I just wanted to give maybe the insight as to my path, how I got to where I'm at now, and kind of my view on fine dining and Michelin as a whole going into this year. So I went to the Culinary Institute of America, and I had not really known much about fine dining. I didn't know who Thomas Keller was. I didn't know who Grant Achatz was, what Alinea was. I didn't even know what Michelin was. I didn't know what World's 50 Best was. I grew up in Buffalo, New York. At that time, it wasn't really big for people that were 17 working at Wendy's. So going to the culinary really reshaped what I saw the food industry to be. I just didn't realize there were these extremely high levels of cooking at these restaurants. And as someone who had a chip on their shoulder, as someone who had a lot to prove, I found value in pursuing what I saw as like the elite of cooking. It felt like making the NFL, making the NBA if I were to go and get a Michelin star or work in a Michelin star kitchen. That was my view when I was 18. And so throughout college, I did a lot of work in fine dining and I staged at places, I worked at places as an externship. When I left college, I didn't even have a plan. I went back in Buffalo, worked at a fine dining restaurant that I loved working in. And I remember during that period, I went to New York and Chicago and I staged. A couple of things for me that didn't work out when it came to Michelin was I financially really couldn't afford it. I had student loans. I didn't have a lot of income. I didn't have any money really saved. And so I do think there is this financial aspect that it is financially hard for not all. There's a ton of people that make it work. And I'm not saying that like you have to be rich to work in Michelin kitchens, but I do think a lot of people don't really, I think, give grace or give an understanding to the fact that a lot of people that maybe want to pursue that is very financially difficult. If you're staging, if you're working for very low pay, especially if you're someone that wants to like needs to make higher pay to pay bills, to pay student loans, like it can be so daunting and intimidating to even go down a fine dining path when you're not financially able to do so. The other thing I noticed is while I loved my time in fine dining, when I would stage at restaurants, I was not happy. I was stressed. I was intimidated by the people there. And it wasn't like a lack of not wanting to work hard. I worked extremely hard. I worked for a restaurant group. I'd work 16-hour days. I would maybe usually not even have a day off. I would work at the fine dining restaurants from like 9 a.m. to like midnight, and I'd do the New Year's Eve 18-hour shifts and all that stuff. Like it wasn't a lack of wanting to work. It was an intimidation of like how, how those chefs were, what those kitchens were like, what that environment was like. And I just felt like it wasn't for me. I had a passion for food, but I also had a passion for business and a passion for management. And at the end of the day, like I think it just kind of clicked in my head that it just didn't make sense to me that I would, go into financial ruin, go into really hurt my career for the validation of an award system. Now, I'm not saying that that's the only reason why people do it, and I want to be very clear. And Justin shared this on the last podcast. There are good experiences to be had in Michelin level kitchens, and there are plenty of reasons why you go to do that. And everyone's reason is different. I'm just sharing that my reason was solely based on getting the recognition of Michelin. It wasn't based on I didn't have an idea of what kind of restaurant I would want. I didn't have an idea of like even who I would work under. I just was like, "Oh, I got to be in a Michelin kitchen because Michelin's regarded as the best and that's where I want to go." And for some people that's all it really you need or it takes, but for me it wasn't fulfilling enough. And then when COVID hit, I lost my restaurant job. I had to leave restaurants. And I fell in love with food manufacturing and research development and food business, and that's what I do now, and I absolutely love it. And so, I just wanna say that, like and during the COVID, I did an article for Plate magazine that no longer exists in Chicago, and I wrote something along the lines of, like, leaving restaurants does not make you an imposter. Leaving fine dining does not make you an imposter. It doesn't, like If you choose to leave fine dining to go elsewhere, you're not an imposter. It's like you should not suffer from imposter syndrome. And I just think that there's so much dynamic and great experience to be had within the restaurant industry as a whole, whether it be, franchisee owner, operator in a restaurant group, operator, like, working in a farm to table restaurant in your local community that's a, maybe 70-seat sit down restaurant, but you really enjoy what you're doing. I think there's so many awesome experiences to have. And I just only like caution that, especially if you're a young cook, if you're a young chef coming up in the industry, you need to have two things. You need to have a realistic conversation with yourself, and this is why, like, what Justin teaches is so important. I had a realistic conversation with myself. Can I even afford this type of lifestyle? Can I afford to work for free for months and not get paid? Like at the time, that was a big thing, which I think, and then now I look back, that's so stupid. Like I don't agree with that practice at all. And if you're not willing to give those things up, or you don't think that it suits the life you think you want to lead, that's okay. And I have a lot of respect for chefs in the Michelin space that go and get those accolades, that do it ethically, that do it by paying their people, that do it by, supporting their staff. There are, like I said, Justin said, there are good kitchens to be worked in. But for me, that was why I left, and that was why I didn't pursue it. And I think that once I started to, and I think what I've found in research and development is I'm able to pair a lot of things that I love. I get to see customer feedback. I get to work in depth on food and tinker with it and get it just right so that people love it. I get to collaborate with a bunch of different people. And that collaboration is so wonderful and it's such a joy and part of like my job. And like I wouldn't have gotten to like actually my dream job if I would have stuck with, oh, I need to be the best Michelin chef ever because that award means everything to me. And so I just like, if working in Michelin kitchens is what you want to do it. Chase your dreams. Go do that. But know your why and actually take the time, especially again, if you're a younger chef, take the time to ask yourself, why are you pursuing these things? What is it that makes this important to you? What do you envision later? What is it you want out of life? If we're going to put kitchens aside, what do you want out of life? And does this path at least somewhere, maybe if you work hard for a decade or a decade and a half, do you have at the end of that road, do you have the opportunity to build the life you want? And so all that to say is that is why I left. A lot of people had asked, or a lot of people have like commented. A lot of people shared amazing stories. You'll see in the comments some stories of people who just didn't want to work in that environment or didn't want to pursue that anymore. There's nothing wrong with that, and you shouldn't feel weak. You shouldn't feel like you're less than, and you shouldn't feel also if like I said, if you want to pursue fine dining at the highest level in a Michelin star in the world's 50 best, you shouldn't see yourself as some like bad person either. Is like I would say demand good working conditions, demand fair pay, demand ethically managed restaurants. You should go for that. Like we've seen the flaws and the errors and when that doesn't happen and it's awful. But whatever you do, just I encourage you to reflect, take the time to look at and just kind of play and map out how you're going to go about the rest of your career. That's all I had to add on this. I thought the discussions are great. I love hearing why people choose the paths they choose in the industry. And so thank you for hearing mine. And it's been an honor sharing it.